Okay, I want to give an overview in this video of the steps required to plant a tree. In this case, this Thuja plicatum tree that I have in front of me. This is a medium-sized tree, but we sell tools and equipment on thegardenshop.ie to cover a full range of trees that you might want to plant in your garden or private property. So what I'll do first of all is just give an overview of exactly the tools we might need. So what I have in front of me here is we have a wheelbarrow that we filled with topsoil. We also have some slow release fertilizer here. We have a watering can we're going to use after we plant the tree. The tools we might use would be a shovel, a spade, a sledgehammer, a small hammer, and also then we have to make a choice between what type of a stake are we going to use. But basically there's three sizes of 3-inch stakes that we sell on thegardenshop.ie. So the first here is a 1.2 metre stake, and it would normally be used with one of these sort of small bare root trees here. There's a medium-sized stake which is a 1.5 metre that we're going to use in this particular case here, and also then we have a 1.8 metre stake, and this would be used with a much larger type of tree here. Okay, so of course the idea of the stake is to give support to the tree, so it won't be overly rocked in the wind and things like this, which can obviously damage the tree and cause it to not grow straight. So the first decision we have to make is just pick the location where we're going to plant it. So in this case here, I have trees either side, so what I want to do is I want to plant it roughly in a straight line with the other trees and equidistance in between the trees. And the next thing then is I dig a hole here twice the size of the root ball, okay, so to give lots of rooms for the roots to fill out. And also I'll say, we had a situation here when I dug down into the soil, it was quite stony. So what I actually did at that point is I just removed some of the stony soil and replaced it with some good quality topsoil. And I filled the hole to a depth so that when we drop in this root ball, the base of the tree is roughly level with the surrounding ground, and that would be counted ideal. So the next decision we have to make then is how will we stake this tree, from what direction? Okay. So the decision you'd normally make is you would figure out where the prevailing wind is. So normally in Ireland this will be coming most likely from the south, or certainly in our location here. So what we do is I put my back to the wind, and I come along then and I put the stake in front of me, such as here, and I know this is roughly where we're going to be staking the tree. So what you want is the stake will give support, so when the wind's blowing the tree, it'll be pulling against the stake and giving support that way. Obviously if we put the stake on the far side of the tree, effectively it's given no support because the wind will actually be blowing the tree into the stake. So I'll just remove this stake for a second here, and what I'll do is I'll actually move this tree into position. Now when I'm positioning this, I picked what is, I felt the most attractive aspect of the tree. I said, from the position that I'll most likely be viewing it, which is really from the front here, give that aspect there, so make it quite good. And then we want this tree in a relatively straight vertical position. So the next thing here is actually get the stake, and I have it here. And what we'll do is, we simply get the stake here, and we just mark out the position where we'd like to put this stake, okay? So that's quite good there now. So that's exactly where we'll put the stake. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to move the tree from this location now, and I'm going to use the sledgehammer to drive down the stake. Now the reason I'm moving the tree out of the way is I simply don't want to damage the tree while I'm driving down this stake. So what I'll do at this point is I simply use the sledge this way initially to drive it, and then I'll use it and drive it straight. I just constantly check that it's vertical. You could use a spirit level at this point, or with these type of trees here, this type of stake, because of the thickness of the root ball, I find that sometimes it's better to slightly angle the stake towards the tree. Now at this point here, what I'm actually going to do is, I'm actually going to grab this tire up here, I'm actually going to put it around the tree here, like this, and I just slide it through. Okay, now we're going to position it here about 10 centimeters from the top of the stake, and there's no point putting it very low down because you're not really using the full support that the stake is capable of giving. So that's why we're positioning it close to the top. And I'm actually just going to move the stake into position now. First of all, I'm just going to quickly use this slow release fertilizer I have here. This is an organic fertilizer, so you could use farmyard manure at this point as well. And I just sprinkle a handful in here at this point. And I just drop the stake into position. Oops. And we have it there. So we can see here when we go to look at this that the tree is quite vertical, so that's ideal. So what we'll do next is I just get my spade, shovel here, and we'll just throw in some topsoil here. And we'll actually come along here, and we'll get my barrow, and we'll just tip this topsoil in. Just use the spade here, or shovel, to pull the side around. And now holding the tree in position to make sure it maintains vertical, I just actually compress the soil here, make sure that it's compacted into position. And I repeat this all the way around the tree and kick in the extra topsoil to give a nice neat finish on it. And what I could do at this point is I could actually throw a little bit more manure in if I wanted it, but probably sufficient now because it's quite good soil. And the final step here is actually just to come and use the tie wrap here to support the tree. So we use this in here. It's quite hard to see exactly what I'm doing, but I just shove it through here and twist it so it's a sort of a figure of 8. It wraps around the stake and then it wraps around the tree. I'd come along here and use my hammer and this little nail here. We can actually see here there's little holes in this tree tie here, so we'll actually just tap in the nail here. We drive it all the way if I wanted it. And the idea this is to stop the tree tie sliding up and down along the stake. And the final thing we would do here is just grab my watering can and I just water in the tree. So in terms of fertilising, and then at the start of next growing season, I'll probably just feed it again with some fertiliser, just throw it around the base of the tree. So that's anyway an overview of how to plant a tree from the garden shop.ie.